Uh,
Ajay.
anyway,
Okay, go ahead.
I think the points are very relevant. I
Question of
completely agree
a
that.
question of, in a crisis, how a leader handles a crisis. And it was very well handled, to be very honest.
Uh, we can debate on a separate forum on that. That's something. Let's not make this political. I do agree on the broad points that yes, things, but I also would like to bring in a couple of more points, and which will be a cue to the next session. I think if and on another from another session, I think as an organization or as an industry, uh, I do not know how much this industry players and stakeholders has worked on efficiency. In terms of making it more agile, making it more efficient. I think there's a lot of money stuck in that process there. That's one of the part. But let's handle one of the questions which came in. And in fact, this came in from Sangam, who is there in the audience, and this is directed to Mr. Rastogi. I'm just reading the question. The PM announcement for the MSME to give a loan to the MSME. The government underwriting a repayment guarantee for the MSME. We would wish to understand that how do you see the trend after 3 months down the line of the announcement?
Oh, already 3 months have passed after the announcement, and roughly around 1.75 lakh crore has already been disbursed to the MSMEs by the banks. And government had kept a target of around 3 lakh crore, which is being done over a period. I think down another 3 to 4 months down the line, the entire 3 lakh crore would be used. But what it has done is it has, the MSMEs were very short of cash because of 3 months of complete lockdown to 1.5 months of complete lockdown. They were short of cash because they were paying salaries. They had to pay their bills, everything. So to restart those operations, this was required, and government has underwritten this entire 3 lakh crore, for which banks are risk free. So I think this has been very good for the MSMEs. Of course, and I'm seeing this in the field also, where, as I said earlier, people are going in for fresh investment. So what it means is they have been able to restart their operations. There are orders on hand, which is good for the economy.
Okay, there's another question which I'll slightly tweak it to make it. I think it's coming from a student. I don't have the identity of the question who has spoken. So let me put it. So the question is, how are millennials changing the business scenario for SME sector? Let me add my own part of it. And I do not know how true it is, but and it's not that I'm out of touch of the industry, but I was not directly involved in industry for now quite some time. But when I was there, one of the trends which I was seeing that the next generation of the entrepreneur who started the business, the next generation was doing one of the two things, right? One was that particular, second generation, whether male or female, was looking at bringing in digital. It was trying into, getting into, different areas. On the other aspect, we saw that they did not get into the industry. They went and did something else. I want to know where is the trend, because I think that leads to this. In printing as a business, is it still seen as sexy for the millennials? Because it's going to play a major role into how these new adoptions of boutique industry application, because the older generation are used to working with large volumes with few customers, while the new trend is about working with many customers with smaller workflows, and that's a very different business model. And I think majority of the players are not ready for that kind of a business, for that migration. Is it something that what is the trend? Maybe, I do not know. Jacob, you are maybe it has to be between Jacob and Ajay to answer that.
Well, if I am permitted to answer it first with the idea that I have over the years. I've been in the industry for the last over 25 years. And what I have seen is the new generation, as you told, the student had asked for the millennials. These millennials, as they call them, they are more into the digital printing aspect. They have an interest of getting into the digital, whereas any parent, as because they are all small scale industries, there's SMEs, and so the investment is around 5 CR. What happens is the father wants the son or the daughter to join him. They don't want to, but what they do, they give the money and ask them what they should do. They say digital. There has been many cases that I know of which this has happened. Means the digital is the sexy thing that you talked about. And so there is, and especially within this pandemic, there has been, as Ajay said, a huge demand change of perspective of a printer from long runs to short runs. And there comes the digital into play at the present moment of time. And that's how it is going. Ajay.
So
you
it
can
has
continue
not
with
changed. It is basically just continued the same trend.
That's what I feel.
India and this SME sector of printers requires a lot of innovation, and it is the millennials who are going to bring in that change. So, to answer the question to the person who has put this question, the responsibility is on your shoulders to bring the innovation.
Okay.
Okay. This is an interesting question. But I do not know how relevant it could be. But let's try and putting it. I'll put it to Satyagi. Is community funding the way forward for new business in the printing and packaging world?
Personally, if you ask me, community print funding, while it is a novel idea, very good idea, but I don't know how much it has taken off. This community or crowdfunding is something that you will have to look at differently. It requires a lot of, once again, there will be regulatory issues there. There will be issues of how to manage those community funding guidelines, how you will devise the guidelines, how you will manage the repayments, how you manage the rotation or the revolving of those funds. But it's a very good idea in a homogeneous group. Now, packaging, as far as I understand, printing and packaging is a very, it's a big hemisphere. It's a very big hemisphere out of which you can look at some silos where you can do it.
Okay.
Funding was what used to happen earlier. Now the situation is that our financial system has evolved so much, we don't need to resort to go back to that old community funding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put this question, and I think we will use this question. I asked this question to a different panel, which was a completely different stakeholders, and I'm putting this back. And anyone can jump in. Maybe Mohit can jump in. It's because the question is related to the strategic shift, which I see is the need of the hour. I do not know how much you know this. About 1.5 years, 2 years back, there was a major acquisition in this industry, which maybe Jacob knows about it. Quad Graphics bought Periscope. I do not know whether you know the background behind it. Just to give you a little bit of idea between people who do not know about this, Quad Graphics is the #2 print packaging company in the world. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I think Jacob, can you hear me?
I can hear. Yeah.
Okay, so Quad Graphics is the world's #2 print packaging provider. They're next to R.R. Donnelley's. It's a, I think, $6.5 billion group, or maybe it's a $1 billion industry with operations in some 60, 70 countries. And they were a purely production player across the entire spectrum of print and packaging. And they acquired Periscope, which was at that time the largest privately held independent advertising agency. That agency was about close to $1 billion of billing, and it was an iconic acquisition because it was a merger, right? And the CEO of Quad Graphics actually sidestepped and became the COO of the new merger, and the CEO of the agency became the CEO of the merged company. And the trend was what was there, and this is where now being part of I know Periscope very well, and I know that industry very well. So, what was the synergy in that business? A creative advertising agency felt the need of production, well, a production agency needs the felt of creative. Right? I feel this is what the SME needs.
Yes.
If, for example, because both without each other does not really give the full chain. And today, if you look really in India, I know the segment, I've worked across multiple geographies, the creative skills of print and packaging industries are not there. They have a few DTP guys who just color correct the files and this to make it production ready. They do not really provide a creative service. And the creative guys are always losing out, in the whole big job, especially in the packaging. You know, I do a job which is 1% of the total billing of packaging, right? And I believe that if this is the way forward, and I feel, I do not know how this could be instigated, but it needs an approach. A printing company just buying or hiring a few designers is not the solution, or a design company getting into production is not the solution. It's a pure merger which is required, because these are two completely independent ecosystems. You need to have that culture, DNA, but to be able to work together and provide the integrated offering. When I asked this question, the other panel, and they were global companies, a large global company, design company, which is based across 4 countries, US, Singapore, Bangkok, and I think Tokyo. The owner of the company was there. And on the other side, there was a large print packaging company. And they said that at that level to have a merger and acquisition is a strategic decision, but we are collaborating. Today we are collaborating, we are pitching for businesses together at a global level, which they are doing it. And I don't see this trend happening in India, or maybe even if it's happening, it is not mainstream.
It will happen. It will happen. Innovation will fall in place. Don't be so pessimistic about it. People will come together during weaker days, weaker times, weaker economy times. People start to innovate much faster. Okay, and these things will surely fall in place. So just wait and watch.
No, my question was the other way around. I'm not being pessimistic. I think my thought, these kind of forums, is that these are the discussion points that needs to be done when you go and talk next.
So what I'm trying to say here is that the point that we should pass on to the listeners here is, start looking at mergers and acquisitions. You know, SMEs typically are family-based organizations, and they don't believe in kind of working together with too many stakeholders. So start changing your mindset and start kind of collaborating, merging, acquisition. Start thinking in those directions and add the skill levels which you internally don't have. And that's the way, because that way you will be able to not only survive this this period, but also thrive once the things fall in place. But this will happen. This will happen because it is, as you said in your first statement, innovation is the way to go. And if you perhaps do not have innovative skills in your own domain, you tie up with companies which have innovative domains, or you perhaps come together. But that's going to happen.
My last point to Mohit, maybe you could start off.
I just want to add to this actually. See, one is what you mentioned was so right. Almost a decade back, I think 95% of the world was kind of a physical retail, brick and mortar retail is what defined the consumer interaction. But last 10 years, there's a major shift which has happened on e-commerce. Now, because of e-commerce, what we require is a digital packaging. We do not require, a very high volume packaging because even a brown box can get delivered to your box or to your place. Actually, you just get excited by what you see on an Amazon product description page rather than what you actually physically receive at your doorstep. So it was extremely important when the product was available on the shelf on a brick and mortar retail outlet versus when you take a decision on a smartphone screen. That's one. Second is how can we use packaging to actually play a vital role as a point of sale. I think there's hardly any work which has happened in the country where the cost efficiency can be achieved where the packaging becomes the POP can also become a communication element, and that will be a requirement because the offline retailers will be pushed to the wall because their gross margins will suddenly shrink because most of the companies will take a decision to make investments on e-commerce rather than actually investing in the offline space. So Pankaj, this will bound to happen. Another is, I think the collaboration, what is missing is the design part. We actually misinterpret the requirement from a creative communication to a design perspective because design plays a very vital role. In our country, there are very few institutions who work on product design. So consumer insight merged with product design, enabling the packaging to be more innovative. I think that's where it is actually moving into. Now, how fast can we do it? Is a question. I think. Do we have the skill set? The answer is yes. Do we have enough? I don't think so. Do we have many institutions who can actually give that kind of a cutting edge? The answer is no. There are only very selected institutions. Do we have a skill set within the advertising agency? The answer is no, because design is altogether a different field altogether. So I think those are areas we need to really contemplate.
Excellent. So we'll take one last question, which is something which I would like to ask because there's no more questions here.
Pankaj, I need one moment at the last before you finish.
After me, or now?
As in when you get complete.
Okay, sure. So let me open it up. So very recently, somewhere in US, I forgot which part of US, but again, I'm not saying that something that happens in the West should happen in India, but a very interesting business model happened when Publicis, which is one of the big agency group, went to a couple of their brands and says that they will have a success fee business model, right? And in that part of it, when they place the entire proposition to their customers, they had some production vendor partners with them who were made to do open calculations and say that we will pay you cost and profits will only come if the brand meets the campaign objectives. I put up this question somewhere, and now the big question to you as a brand manager, say, I mean, I do not know what exactly kind of print packaging work that you do, but it's a very strategic decision. Say, for example, if you spend $1 million in a campaign which is involving print packaging, would you work at, and you obviously, you with your procurement team would like to bring it down in current scenario. Will you, like, let's say, assuming there's a 20% gross margin, saying that, okay, I will pay $500,000, $500,000 for that job, but I'm willing to pay 10% of my profit on the ROI of that particular campaign, which may turn out to be higher payout to the agency and the print production company. Does this kind of collaborative business model, do you think, ever will come in?
Pankaj, what has happened is last 3 months, marketeers have been actually pushed to the wall because overnight their budgets have been either told them that they don't exist, or they say, or they're being told that okay, they exist if you can actually show an ROI on whatever money you actually are spending. So when suddenly a brand marketeer becomes a ROI marketeer, so the way of approaching the same challenge actually, the perspective is supposed to be different. And there have been a lot of conversations actually in the last few months where, I've been asked by the top management to work either on a pure variable model or on a fixed and a variable, model in various scenarios. So what you mentioned is something which is bound to happen. It is, and I tell you, you will be surprised to know, 5 years back, and I'm talking about a PR agency. Here, I'm not even talking about a printing and packaging. I'm talking about a PR agency. I will not give you the name. I was able to crack a fixed and variable model where I said, okay, I will give you something which is as base as easy, which is equal to your manpower cost. I will underwrite that cost, but I will not give you profit. I will only give you a profit if we are able to give me a delivery which is overachieving a certain parameters. So if you overachieve on certain parameters, I'm ready to give you 2x on your variable payout. and they were more than happy to work. And there were quarters where they actually got more than 2.5x as a variable payout, which was technically expensive. And I'm talking 5 years back. That was not the COVID time, actually. So this all thing, I must say, of fixed and variable, or working on a partnership model where you also take an equal risk in the campaign, is something which has been globally, discussed by marketeers, and a lot of marketeers have done a little pilot also around it. But in India, I think it's high time that the Indian marketeers should start thinking about it. It is becoming a reality, especially during the COVID times.
Excellent. So I think we had wonderful. Maybe Jacob, you had your last closing points.
I had a small point to talk about. We've been talking about MSME, and I have a small request. Packaging industry is basically to be provided with capital investment, interest subsidies, comprehensive insurance subsidies, special subsidies as well. Technology improvement and technology upgradation is the need of the hour. Training centers for skill upgradation is needed as well. Setting up of probably a task force to look into it is recommended. Market promotion is also needed. Tax relief, if possible, should also be done. Innovative packaging should also be given import duty exemptions. Packaging norms to create a world-class infrastructure and promotion of education, training and awareness is the need of the hour as far as I could see. Not that the present government or the earlier dispensation haven't done, but we need more. We need much more than what it was. Then only the designs as Mohit wants would be up to the standards. And then only Ajay Agrawal would be able to sell the best of the machines that he wants to sell. And Satyaki Rastogi ji needs to give the money to the small SMEs so that these guys can do all that the things can be done. Thank you, Pankaj. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have the next speaker already in the queue. So it was wonderful. Thank you, Jacob, Ajay, Satyagi, Mohit, for taking your time out. I think it was very, very interactive. A lot of points were discussed. Starting from the macroeconomic factors, politics, the trade strategy. I enjoyed it, like most of the sessions, and thank you very much. I hope you got some insights into few things, and I look forward, both on a personal level and under the banner of Back Impressions, to have similar or related kind of engagement with you in the coming days. Thank you, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.